Hi everybody, welcome to Jana's Crochet Journey. Today is Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. I know I said I would try to start this on the weekend, but I actually have a few minutes that I am going to try recording a video that might cover some basics for a beginner to get started, some supplies you may want to try and have on hand, and just a little bit to get some people going who are curious and are waiting for me to go and do this. So to start with, in front of me is the Premier Home Cotton Grande. It's one of the big skeins, 700 yards, 640 meters. This is 85% cotton, 15% polyester. This is nice and soft where it could be a wearable, or I have also made Bag O Day's pattern of the kitchen dress with the apron. The exact title of the pattern I don't have off the top of my head, but very nice to dry your hands on, washes and dries. Very nice. On this skein, it tells you about the center pole, or you could actually take the band off. Color, again, cranberry. And on a skein of yarn, you are going to find the number for the weight. And this is a medium 4. The next box, you'll see knitting needles. That gives you the information that you need to use knitting needles. And this is for crochet. 5.5 millimeter or an I9. Some hooks just have the number, some have the I9, and some will have both. Then it gives you the symbols for the washing instructions. Machine wash, tumble dry low. Do not iron. Not sure what that one means. And if you go on premieryarns.com, you could also get some free patterns to use their yarn for. So, in saying that, there's this one. Now, this cotton is by Mary Maxim. Dishcloth cotton. It's not that rough. I mean, I felt rougher cotton, but this is more if you want to make dishcloths to wash your dishes with. You could also make dish towels to dry your hands on. Washes and dries great. Made in Turkey, 85% cotton, 15% polyamide. Now this one is a medium 3 and has you use a 5 millimeter crochet hook, but because this is a 3 and the other is a 4, I would use a 5.5 or even a 5 crochet hook. If you want more give and drape and things to be a little less stiff, you could go up a hook size. But if you're following a pattern, try to follow what the pattern says, but a lot of them will tell you to use the recommended hook size on the label of the yarn, because it will depend on the weight of the yarn for what hook to use. Now, if you're dealing with acrylic, and I just grabbed a skein that I already have started to use. This is Red Heart Super Saver in the color Orchid. This also is a medium 4, but 100% acrylic. For this, it says 5mm crochet hook, or an 8 knitting needle, I'm sorry. This one, 5.5mm crochet hook, or an I9. And again, machine wash and dry. If your pattern calls for a 6mm crochet hook, then I would go with what the pattern calls for, unless it specifically says use the hook size on the skein of yarn. If you want more of a drapey and less stiff, go up a half or a whole hook size to, like, say for example for this, a 6 or a 6.5. You can also make a little swatch to see how you feel that it's coming out. That way you could pull out a little swatch if you want to go up or down a hook size. You can also go down if you want to make an amigurumi and make things smaller. So that's just a little bit there. Some other things that are good to have are stitch markers. I got these on Amazon. They were not that expensive. And these are nice for dishcloths, blankets. I use them. You put them in the end. They have smaller and bigger ones, just depending. When I do a blanket or a cardigan, and I've even done it with dishcloths, you put these in the end, clip them. When you get to the other end, as you'll see, you put another one in, because for a beginning crocheter, you can lose that first stitch that you create when you make that turning chain. And these really help. They're all the same, doesn't matter the color. It's just something pretty to have sitting there that you can go to when you need them. Now for hooks, when I first started out, I used these metal hooks. Notice I'm using red. Favorite color. So this says, let's see if I can get it to focus, an I9 5.5mm hook. These are not bad, but again, if you crochet a lot, and like me with arthritis, your hand cramps. And you can either use the knife hook, knife hold, which is what this is, or pencil. I am not comfortable crocheting like this, so I do the knife. Once my hand started cramping with these, I went to ergonomic hooks. And for this, let's see if I can get it. You can see I9 5.5mm hook. These are much more comfortable. You're not constantly in that tight pinch. And each size has their own color, so you could learn the color before you even have to look at the handle. These also can come in a whole set. See, this is the N10mm. I do a lot of blankets with really soft blanket yarn. You can use this. I'm also using an L11 right now on my sister's cardigan, so I don't have that one here in my craft room. But these are two different sets. So this one does not have the number or the letter, just the number. This one's very tiny. Like, you can't even see, but this is a 2.5 millimeter. There you go. 2.0 millimeter. Some amigurumis will call for these this small. 3.5. And then there's some more. There's also bigger ones, like 15s. You just have to get them separate. There is some 7 bulky yarn. That you would need the bigger hooks for. A tape measure is nice. A lot of wearables will tell you to make a swatch and measure how tight or loose you are crocheting. And they will tell you how big your swatch should be in either inches or centimeters. You can do the swatch, measure it. If it's too big, that means you have a loose tension and you need to go down a hook. If it's too tight, you have a tight tension and you need to go up a hook size to make it bigger. And then you can also, say for a blanket, go up a hook size for the chain and then go down to the hook size they're calling for to go on with the pattern. And then you have to weave in your ends, which some people don't like doing, but it's not really a big deal. It's a part of changing colors. So there are tapestry needles. You can get these in Walmart, online at Amazon. You want the big eye, and these are fatter in here. And I even have some in here that I've ordered. This one is a real big one because, again, for that blanket yarn, which is really thick, it's nice. And see, these are a nice fat blunt needle. And I would weave in once this way, turn it this way, one more time this way. That way, if you're going to be washing and drying, keeps things a little more secure. And then, of course, you'll also need a pair of scissors if you're going to be changing colors or just ending the project so that you can weave the ends in. Now, for today, just for a quick sample, I have my cotton yarn. And again, because I've used this before, my tail is all ready. You need to make a knot. I just wrap it around, go through, and pull. You don't need it like super tight. You want this to be able to slide up and down. Here's your tail. You will weave this in at the end. And there's your working yarn. So to make a chain, you yarn over, and I usually pinch right here. And this is going to take practice. People get very frustrated with their starting chain because it's too loose, it's too tight, it's too wonky. They keep pulling it out. You just have to practice. And the best way for you to practice and get the feel of it is, let's say you want to start with cotton, do dishcloths. Even for me, if I want to learn a new stitch, I'm not going to start on a big blanket. I'm going to start with a dishcloth or even a swatch. You don't even have to go that big. But once you yarn over, pull through, that's one chain. And then for me, this finger for me helps control my yarn. So I yarn over, pull through, that's chain 2. And cotton yarn can split, so you can make swatches with acrylic, but you're not going to be washing dishes or drying your hands with those. So even square little swatches are fine. So yarn over, pull through, that's 3. Yarn over, pull through. Sorry, I'm looking through my phone. Very awkward. That's 4. And you just keep chaining until you get the number that you need. Okay. Now, same thing with acrylic. And this again is, these are both 4s, but a cotton 4 is different than an acrylic 4. And you can see that right there. So let's say, yarn over, make a slip knot. Pull up. It's nice and not too tight, nice and loose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so let's say it calls for 10 chains plus 1. Some will say chain in the multiple of 3 as wide as you want, and then plus 1 for your turning chain. So we have 10, and then we need a plus 1. So we'll add 1 more. Now for the first row, we're going to go back this way. Sorry. The chain on the hook does not count as a stitch. It's just a guide. So if it says skip the first chain, that's this one right here. Because this one doesn't count, skip the first. Second chain from hook, which is this one, single crochet. A single crochet, put your hook in the chain, yarn over, pull through 2. Then you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through both loops. That's your first. Now what you could do is put a stitch marker in there. If you were doing a bigger project, you could put a stitch marker. But because we only have 10 chains for this example, we'll be okay to just count, and I'll show you. Get some more yarn. Okay. So then it will say possibly to single crochet in each stitch across. So to do another. Go in, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to see right there, 1, 2. You've just done it twice. Keep going, and you can see your yarn that right here, that you've gone into that stitch. So you know to move on to the next one, and you know you can pull on it. It's not going to hurt it any. So another single crochet, in, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. You've done it again. Keep going. In, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. In, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. In, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. In next, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, this is a single crochet. Yarn, go into the hook, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. In, yarn over, pull through, 2, yarn over, pull through both. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to count these V's. This is what they look like, as V's. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is where you would have put that stitch marker if you felt that you needed them. So we have our 10. This here is the knot, or the beginning of your chain. So you do not go in there. Now to go to the next row, you have to chain 1. So yarn over, chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work. Now, let's say it says to single crochet across again, which is what we just did. So, you do not go in to this first part here. That's your turning chain. You go into the next one. So, you go in, and you're going to go under both. See the V? With the V stitch, you go under both, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And now you're creating another row of V's, and this is where you would put your stitch marker to keep track that this is the end of the row. So if you have to turn your work, Let me show you here. If you have to turn your work, you're going to see the V. You're going to go under both of those unless a pattern says back loop only or front loop only, which will be a future video. But for now, if it says single crochet across, if you look at it head on, it only looks like one. But if you turn it, you're going to see the V, and you need to go under both. So you can see here, you've already went into that first one. So now we'll turn it. Go under both, because you could see if you put your nail in there, you would be splitting them, and there's two. Yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, you turn it. Yep. You'll say, yep, there's the V, there's the 2. Go under, yarn over, or grab your yarn. You'll have 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Go in, grab the yarn, 2 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And if you keep going across, and they have those dots on the screen that you can click and put in slow motion if someone that you're watching is going too fast. See the V? Go in. Grab the yarn. 2 on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through both. And if your stitches previously are too tight, it'll be hard for you to get in, to grab. And that's just a matter of practicing and loosening your tension. And it takes a lot of practice. So here, if you're not sure if this is your last stitch or not because you don't want to use a stitch marker, just go back and count. Just pull that up, give yourself some slack. All right. Start where you just left off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, nope. You know you started with 10, so you know you've got one more. If you don't want to use stitch markers, and it's kind of obvious that there is another one there, because if you don't have the right number of stitches, you're either going to V out or you're going to get narrow on the whole project. So, turn your work. The V is right there. Go in, and sometimes it can be a little fiddly. Under both. Bring it through. Yarn over. Pull through. Pull through 2. And there you go. And if you wanted to keep trying and do a little swatch, chain 1, turn your work. And again, first one is your turning chain, so you will not be going in that one. But if you go in the next one, under the V, you will see that you're going to start again. And then your lines will be straight. So it's not bad to use stitch markers for big projects for sure, because it really sucks when you have to rip them all out. But something small like this, just to learn the stitches. And it may say, you know, slip stitch. And that is where you go in under both, grab the yarn, pull through and through. That is a slip stitch, and you will use that in granny squares if it says slip stitch to the corner. This, okay, for example, this could say slip stitch to the end of the row. So you would go in under both, grab the yarn, pull through and through again. In, yarn over and through. Under both, grab the yarn, pull it through and through. And that is a slip stitch. It's very seldom so far that I have seen, unless you're trying to get from one point to the next without creating any height difference, that you would ever use a slip stitch unless it's telling you to slip stitch to the end. So there's that. So if you're going to find a pattern where you might want to try these, they have patterns that will say beginner, easy, intermediate, and advanced. I find it easier to take a notebook and write down the patterns in bullet form. And by bullet form, I mean like this. Round 1, chain 60, SL slips into the first stitch to form a ring, which is a future showing. But this way, if you're in a notebook, and some patterns will just have this all just separated by commas. It's very confusing. So I have plenty of notebooks, they're not that expensive, where I will write the pattern for the section I'm on in bullet form. So when I do that, I'm checking it off. Because if you're doing a big blanket, where I did a filet blanket that has the holes in it for my granddaughter, you don't want to mess up, because the stitches were creating hearts, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't skipping a step because it was very detailed. And this pattern I'm showing you here is a pattern by Bag O'Day. Just so yeah, rewriting them so you can check them off. Amazon also has clear plastic you can put the pattern in, so that with the special little marker you can check where you are, and then when you're done you can erase it, put a different pattern in there. I don't have any of those yet, but it's something to look into. So I think that's about it for today. Again, these are on Amazon, not that expensive. I got this whole hook collection on Amazon the ergonomic. Plus my daughter bought me another set. There also is the kind, these are called clover hooks. Thicker handle. They have the letter and the number on them. But this is more slidey, so it goes through. These are a little more expensive. Usually around Thanksgiving, you can get the whole set for like half price, which is between $40 and $50. These two I bought individual. And that's about it. So grab yourself some yarn, whatever hook size it calls for. Practice your chain, your single crochet. You could even do a row of slip stitch just to get the feel. I used to do maybe something double this size to practice my stitch. And, you know, just get the feel for it. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining me today and watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can email me or send me a message. I hope this helps to get you started, and we'll see you next time on Jana's Crochet Journey. Thank you. Bye.